sugar manufacturer.
Oh, okay, sugar refinery. Oh, mini trigiri.
So you can't
It's
run away
essential.
even during COVID.
It's essential. Okay, guys. So, guys, I'm sure most of you guys, it's not your first time, it's not your first attempt, is it? Or first time to do AAA. Let us be open. Before I quickly get into today's business, let us be frank and honest in that question. Starting with you, Viola. Is it okay, Viola? You said it's
Yes, it's my first time to do advanced audit.
okay. And Kudzai, I'm sure I forget if you ask you. And then Tafara and Grace.
It's also my
Yes,
first
Kudzai,
time.
you can. Okay.
For me, it's my first time.
Grace, is it your first time?
Yes,
Okay, it's fine. Oh, Grace, it's your first time.
yes, it's my first time.
That's good. So listen very careful. When it comes to advanced auditing, even a audit assurance, it's a matter of application. This is now advanced auditing. It's a matter of application. The knowledge that you have acquired during your studies from F1 up to options. So specifically FR, SBR, SBL, taxation, and stuff. You know, that kind of that knowledge is very important. So it's a matter of application. Here I heard so many people say, oh no, advanced auditing, they ask about, you're going to be asked about the accounting standard, or just about IFRS 5, assets held for sale and discontinued operations. No. We're going to apply relevant provisions of the standards. We're going to apply what? When it comes to accounting standard or financial reporting standards. You'll be given a, so you're supposed to be in a position to identify or to recognize no, what the client's management did here. I'm sure there's a misapplication of this accounting standard altogether. Or considering this, that there's a significant decrease in considering that in the financial position, goodwill. The clients management, they did not test, the goodwill did not, if they did not impair the goodwill. But considering that there's a significant decrease in revenue and there's an issue about a negative publicity about the company. So all those kind of things. We have learned about impairment losses. Do you remember? Are you still remembering that there are indicators of impairment? So they just tell you in this scenario. So you have got a duty to identify those things and then relevant provisions of the accounting standard. No, in this case, when you're usually at this level, you'll be asked to comment, to evaluate, to assess, to recommend. So these are the common question verbs. So when you're commenting, usually if the client's management did something correct, you have to comment. No, this one, they did this one, which is in line with this certain accounting standard. But what they did here now, it seems like there's a misapplication of the accounting standard. What they're supposed to be, what's supposed to be done is ABCD. Are you following on what I'm saying? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's about did SBR, or some of you guys you are doing, but FRF we did. So it's a matter of application. When it comes to corporate governance issues, we very soon we're going to look on how group audit preparing to answer the question number 1 very soon. I'm sure next week, starting next week. So it's a matter of application. You did SBL or you did corporate governance and or probably when you're doing other profession, are you able to identify that there's a corporate governance deficiency somewhere there? Then so that you may evaluate business risks. They may ask you to evaluate some business risks, audit risks, or risk of material statement. We're going to teach you exactly. But so far, we're going to look on specific matters, specific accounting matters. Are you able to identify? Remember, in audit as a professional accountant, you as a professional accountant, you as a practitioner, are you able to identify what the client's management did is not in line with what? Someone is asking, is the lecture started? It's fine. Is it in line with the standard or the provisions of certain accounting standards? That's good. So last time, unfortunately, I was so busy and stuff. There's a lot of disturbance. It's fine. But let us continue. And I'm assuring you, this month we're supposed to cover, to finish the whole syllabus, including including, yes, you have to do some questions as we go. We revise as we go. Like today, we are going to only focus on questions. Ethics, money laundering, December 2018. Then the other March, June 2019 is about commenting or evaluating and audit procedure. So that's what we're going to cover today. So on March, June 2019 is about share-based payment, IFRS 2, and I'm sure about legal penalties. It's all about provisions. IS 37. The other one it was about property. It's about IS 16. For you to understand these accounting standards or provisions, if we give a question, you would understand them, because rather than just read them, But of course, I've asked you to read. Did you do that, guys? Did you read? Please, guys, go and read about this one then, so that you may know what are the general audit procedures. If you're auditing property plant equipment, generally, what is it all about? What IS 16 tells about? If it's about IFRS 9, financial instruments, what are the major provisions there that you must know, and what are the audit procedures if you want to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence? How best you can design audit procedures. So don't forget that you are an audit as a professional accountant. That's why sometimes they may ask you to evaluate, to comment on what the client's management did or directors did. I'm referring to accounting treatment done by the client's management. Are you able to comment? Are you able to evaluate? So it emanates from understanding the provisions of accounting standards, International Financial Reporting Standards, accepted accounting practice, etc. Okay, I don't want to waste my time. Let us get into our today's business. Let me share my screen. Do we have any foreigner in this group? Do we? Do we have any foreign? I'm asking an honest question. Do we have?
I didn't get the question.
Do we have any foreign in this class? Do we?
Might
No,
not be a foreigner, but using definitely.
Okay, but you might not bet exactly what I say. Do you speak Shona?
I speak both.
Sorry? Do you
I speak
speak
both.
and hear Shona?
Yes.
Okay, Shona and Dewele.
Mm.
Okay, it's fine. Because why I'm asking, I don't want to have a situation whereby, you know, you say you are so discriminative and no. It's a good question. Fine. Right, guys. December 18, question. We did money laundering and ethics, I remember last time in the corporate governance issue, but today we're going to apply what we have learned on money laundering and ethical and professional issues. So on this case, they say discuss the policy. Oh, we did this question, isn't it? Did we? We didn't. Hello?
Hello. We did open the
We
question, but
didn't.
maybe I missed a lecture, but I don't think we did go through all of it.
Okay.
As we
Okay,
were
understand.
doing the
So we didn't.
the ethics question, I
Okay, that's
think you
good. It's
did
fine.
open just to give us some hints of what the questions will look like under that
Okay.
topic.
So okay, understand now. So required part. So if whenever you're given a scenario, quickly go or where it is written required, so that you won't ask you so many questions when you're reading the scenario, so that you may understand when you're reading. So required part A, they say Roman numeral 1, discuss the policy. Yes, we are in the lecture. Okay, guys. Hello? Hello?
I can hear you, sir.
Yes. Nanisukutaura say I'm not hearing you. I was not speaking.
Okay.
That's Francisca. No, she. I was communicating with Francisca, so I got two Francisca in this group. So I removed one. So I didn't know that is the account which is she's using. So I've asked her to Bekan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Direct, so that yes, I'm okay. It's fine. So you are required to discuss about the policy and procedure which Thomas and Kamban should have in place in relation to an anti-money laundering program. 4 marks. 4 marks. Remember to evaluate whether there are any indicators of money laundering activity by either clean Kanban or its staff. 6 marks. Then part B, you are required to comment on the ethical and professional issues arising from your review of the audit working papers and recommend any actions which should now be taken by Thomas and Kamban. 15 marks. Altogether, 25 marks. So it's a lot of marks, isn't it? A lot of marks, 25 marks. So I'm going to let me start to read the whole story quickly so that we I'll read. You are an audit manager in Thomas and Kamban, a firm of chartered certified accountants. When you're doing ACCA, never ever think or expect to hear or to read where it is written you are a student. No, you'll be given a title, general a subject that you are doing. In this case, they say you are an audit manager in Thomas and Kamban, which means we expect you to answer to provide your answers like an audit manager. You're not a student. You're not what? So you are given a title, a better title, so that you may respond better. So you have recently been assigned to the audit of Clean Kanban for the year ended 30 September 2018. Clean Kanban is an unlisted Kanban and has been an audit client of your firm for a number of years. So the word unlisted company, look, you're given the status of the client. A client is the company that we are auditing. A client is the company that is receiving a service from a chartered accounting firm. Am I clear there? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good. A client. In what do you say a client? A client is a company that is receiving a service from a chartered accounting firm or from an audit firm. An audit firm is a chartered accounting firm, isn't it? That's good. So the word unlisted company, that status on its own is very important, especially part B when you are going to, they are requiring us to probably to comment on ethical and professional issues. Why? Because there are some when you are evaluating or identifying and explaining some ethical threats, you have to suggest when you're recommending some safeguards. There are some safeguards that are exclusively applied to listed or public interest entities only. That what? Exclusively what? Applied. There are some safeguards that are exclusively applied to public interest entities. So that term is very important. Unlisted company, which means in this case, it's not what? It's not a public interest entity company. Teachers, are we together?
Yes, we are.
I'm sure that you're jotting down. These are very, very important points. No matter that you read a lot of notes, but you may fail to apply them. Why? Because of these terms that are very simple. You may be out of topic. Why? Because of these simple terms. So when you're reading the introduction part, quickly identify when you're answering probably question with something to do with ethics, or if you're asked to comment about professional ethics and ethical threats and professional issues. Does the client is the client a public interest entity or not? And it will be clearly written on the introduction paragraph. Second paragraph, Clean Company is a national distributor of cleaning products. The company buys the cleaning products from wholesalers and employs a team of approximately 750 sales staff around the country who sell the company's product to both domestic households and small to medium-sized businesses. Around 75% of Clean Company sales transactions are cash-based, and each of the company's sales staff prepares a cash sales report on a monthly basis. According to Clean Company's chief executive, Simon Blackers, and in order to foster an entrepreneurial spirit among his staff, each staff member, in brackets, including the senior management team, is encouraged to make cash sales and is paid on a commission basis to sell the company's products to friends and family. Mr. Blakers leads the way with this scheme and recently sold cleaning products with a value of $33,000 to a business associate of his. He has transferred these funds directly into an offshore bank account in the company's name on which he is the sole signatory. Next, review of audit working papers. Review of audit working papers. I'll read. Your review of the audit working papers and an initial meeting with Mr. Blakers, who is the Chief Executive Officer, have identified the following potential issues. Next paragraph. Following your review of the audit engagement letter and the working papers of the taxation section of the audit firm, you have established that Thomason and Company performed the taxation computation for Clean Company. Don't forget that, and bear this in your mind, that Thomas and Company is the chartered accounting firm, is the audit firm, and the Clean Company is the client. And completed the tax returns for both the company and Mr. Blakers personally, which means we are preparing we are performing the tax computation both for the company and the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Blakers, the director. All of the taxation services have been invoiced to Clean Company as part of the total fee for the audit and professional service. Blakers' personal tax return includes a significant number of transactions involving the purchase and the sale of properties in various international locations. The taxation working papers include a detailed review of a number of offshore bank accounts in Mr. Blakers' name, which identified the property transactions. Next paragraph. During your initial meeting with Mr. Blakers, he informed you that Clean Company is planning to develop a new website in order to offer online sales to its customers. He has asked Thomas and Company to provide assistance with the design and implementation of the website and online sales system. Next paragraph. As a result of your audit review visit at the client's premises, you have learned that the audit team was invited to and subsequently attended Clean Company's annual office party. The client provided each member of the audit team with a free voucher worth $30, which could be redeemed at the venue during the party. The auditor, Paula Metcalf, who has worked on the audit for the last 3 years, he has informed you that the audit team has always been encouraged to attend the party in order to develop good client relations. Then say question number 1A, Roman, discuss the policies and procedure which Thomas and Company should have in place in relation to an anti-money laundering program. Okay, just for those people, I'm sure anyway, it's an open question. What is an anti-money laundering program? Anti-money laundering program. Well, in general, let us start by asking what is money laundering? Money laundering. Just asking for those who joined us today, what is money laundering? Quickly tell us. Anyone quickly define? Someone want to define what is a money laundering with the own words?
I would like to try.
What is money laundering? What is money laundering?
Hello?
Yes, what is money laundering? Money laundering. What is money laundering?
Is it okay if I try?
Yes, you may. Yes, you may define.
Money laundering is the process by which criminals try to pass off money they obtain or funds they obtained through their criminal activities as legitimate funds by placing them into legitimate businesses and cleaning the money so that no one knows the source or the owner of the fund.
Okay. So whenever, please, this is a technical stuff. Whenever you answer the question or answering about money laundering, even if you're asked or not asked, first define what is money laundering. In this case, Roman numeral 1, the first thing that you're supposed to do is to define what is money laundering. Are we together? I'm sure that you're jotting down. Are you writing something? Money laundering. the first thing you have to define what is money laundering. What is money laundering? First thing you have to define what is what? Money laundering. So let us define. It's a technical thing, which is very important. Am I clear there? Hello?
Yes, I'm following.
That's cool. So am I right? Let us define. Let us define what is money laundering. Okay. Yes, so am I right? Money laundering is the process of changing large amounts of money. Is the process of changing large amounts of money, changing large amounts of money obtained from illicit dealings, obtained from illicit dealings, obtained from illicit dealings. Obtained from illicit dealings, such as drug trafficking, such as drug trafficking. Are you writing? Such as drug trafficking into origination, into origination, into origination from a legitimate source, into origination from a legitimate source. That's good. So in other words, when to talk about money laundering, we're simply saying that the criminals that are disguising the source, the original source of their funds. Why? Because those funds are dirty. So they're trying only to make them clean. They went laundering, which means to make them clean. To make them what? So they're trying to hide the true original ownership and control of those source of funds. So money laundering is an illegal activity. Is what? I'm just explaining. So the first thing you have to define. Your definition doesn't mean you have to claim what is written from the textbook. No, we need a definition, which is as long as we are clearly tell us what is money laundering. What is money laundering? Money laundering is laundering. I remember if you put dirty clothes in the washing machine, that's what's called laundering. That machine to try to make it clean, make them clean, isn't it? Wash them so that you get them clean, isn't it? That's why they call it money laundering. You're trying to make dirty money clean to legitimize the debt or debt source or origin of unclean money to make them clean. In other words, you're trying to make dirty money clean. That's why I have used the word legitimize, to legitimize debt money, to legitimize. Am I clear there?
Yes.
Okay. Can we proceed? So now we should have what you call an anti-money laundering program. The purpose of this anti-money laundering program is to try by all means as auditors not to be involved in illicit dealings of the client that we are auditing, the company that we're auditing. We should have an anti-money laundering program, because there's a risk of being involved in such activities. If you do not have an anti-money laundering program, there's a risk of being involved in such activities, in such illicit dealings, in such debt activities. So that's why, according to anti-money laundering programs, anti-money laundering act, we should have an anti-money laundering program in order to combat such things, in order to identify if there's some indication. Everyone within the audit firm should be aware of how best can we identify illicit transactions, illicit dealings. Are we together? When you're auditing a client, the audit team members should be able to identify this one is an indication of illicit dealings. In this case, the owners or this transaction, they're trying to disguise ABCD. You should be in a position to identify money laundering activities. You as an auditor or as auditor should be aware. So here are the anti-money laundering program. There are certain policy procedures that you have to put in place in relation to anti-money laundering program. So you may write now, after you define what is money laundering, then you may skip a line and say, okay, let me tell you one thing. You must understand the question of discuss. What does the word discuss mean? Discuss. What does the word discuss? Discuss. They didn't say state, they said discuss.
I think
to understand the question. Mm-hmm.
I think it means to identify the key points and then explain them.
Okay. Okay. So in other words, when you're discussing, in other words, you're taking into account different issues or ideas, isn't it? Are we together? You are taking into account different issues or ideas when you discuss, which means we are looking on advantage, disadvantage. But let us use the word. We are just taking into account different issues or ideas when we are discussing. So failure to understand the question verbs. That's where they may end up writing a page for 4 marks. Just imagine 4 marks, only 4 marks. So here we need those policy procedures that are more relevant to the scenario. That are more relevant to what? To the scenario. We need those that are more relevant to the scenario. Only 4, then you discuss them. Then we have to start by saying, what can someone for those who what in our last lecture, specifically Yvonne Francisca, you were there, and I'm sure is it Yansha or Tafara? And Manron program, just study it. Then I'll make it clear that point we've discussed. But those were notes. We are not answering the question. Now we are trying to relate to the scenario now. If you are probably you know some of the anti-money policy and procedures of anti-money laundering program. Yvonne began. Oh. Yes, you may continue. Be specific. Listen, you have to find appoint what you have to appoint. Yes, you have to write. Our firm should appoint a man laundering reporting officer, isn't it? Our firm should appoint a man laundering reporting. That's your first point. Our firm should, which means be involved in the scenario. We need people who are practical, be involved in the scenario. So our firm should appoint a man laundering reporting officer. We have appropriate level of experience. We have what? Appropriate level of experience. Look now, I'm discussing. It's not just stating that we should appoint a reporting officer, then full stop. No, we need the attributes. We have to make it clear who that person should possess, what kind of experience, A, B, C, D. So that person should have an appropriate level of experience and seniority. First, so still discussing about that man loan reporting officer. Then say, all staff members, all staff, continuation. We're still talking about man loan reporting officer. All staff should be trained. All staff should be trained on how to report issues to the man loan reporting officer. How to report issues to the man loan reporting officer, and they should be aware that malicious allegations attract what? Can someone continue? Finish my statement. Malicious allegations, it's an offense, isn't it? Yes, they should be aware that malicious allegations is an offense. He would be sued. Full stop. You're done with that point. That's first point. Second point, you have to go and discuss about what? Hello? Hello? You're not discussing about, but I'm teaching you how to express a point when you're discussing. In this, they say for going to discuss two. Number one, I've mentioned it. Then you put that one as a point in Romanian one, then put a point. Then now you skip a line, then going on to another point, second point, then discuss about it. Again, last time we've mentioned about the client due diligence, isn't it? Customer due diligence. Do you remember? Our anti-money laundering program should include programs such as client due diligence, or customer due diligence. Do you remember? Hello? Client due diligence, which means know your client. Client's due diligence means know your client. Means know your client. How best can you know our client? Which means we must know the client's business. We must know, gather information about who are the directors of the company, and the days of company are they who are they claim to be, are the ones who are claimed to be, who are other people who are close to those directors, or who are other people who may influence the operations of the business. What are the major customer suppliers of that of the client's business? Which means we have to review documents such as memorandum of association, articles of association, personal identifications of directors. Yes, etc. Customer due diligence. It's part of anti-money laundering program. You must know your client. Are you following, guys, on what I'm saying?
Yes, we are.
Hello? Yes, that's good. So that's what we're going to discuss. Now we are applying the notes. Please read about it and learn how to apply those notes. I've taught you right now how to apply those notes. That's to discuss about the anti-money laundering program. Let us go on Roman numeral 2. Evaluate whether there are any indicators of money laundering activities by either clean company or its staff. 6 marks. Evaluate. The first thing you have to understand, what does the word evaluate mean? The question verb is very important. To understand the question verb is something which is very important. Evaluate. What does the word evaluate mean? Evaluate mean? What does the word evaluate mean? Someone to try. What does the word evaluate mean? Evaluate. Come on, guys. To judge, isn't it? To assess, isn't it? Evaluate means what?
To judge or
To
assess.
judge, or yes. To appraise something. So here they say evaluate there are any indicators of money laundering activities by either clean company staff. So which means you're going to use your common sense to judge, applying what you have learned about indicators of money laundering, isn't it? All together.
Yes.
We've discussed about we've discussed about indicators. There are 3 stages in money laundering. What are they? Placement, isn't it? First stage is placement, number 2, layering, and number 3, integration. These are the only 3 stages. And I'm sure I've given you good examples at each stage. When talking about placement, layering, examples of layering, and integration, isn't it? So evaluate whether there are any indicators of money laundering activity. So you have to judge, you have to assess. So there are say 6, which means probably we just need to evaluate at least 3. At least what? 3 issues, because we're going to evaluate, to assess related to the scenario. So when we, after you have identified, the situation, or a scenario, or identify probably a a transaction or what is being done is a good example of placement. Mention this one represent this one is a good example of placement. This one a good example of layering. This one is a good example of integration. You're now relating to those 3 stages. It's very important. What I'm saying that after we have identified after you have identified money laundering activity, please name the stage. Please name this stage. This one is a good example of placement. This one is a good example of layering. This one is a good example of integration. I'm sure that you are following on what I'm saying. So here I'm just going to pick only 2 things that we're going to evaluate. So second paragraph, I'm sure that you are seeing my screen. Is it clear, isn't it? Are you seeing it? I'm indicating second paragraph, this one. Yes, I'm sharing my screen with you guys. Are you seeing it?
Yes, we are.
Hello? That's good. Then I'm going to read the second paragraph. Clean Company is a national distributor of clean products. The company buys the clean products from wholesalers and employs a team of approximately 750 sales staff around the country who sell the company's product to both the domestic households and small to medium enterprise business, medium-sized businesses. Around 75% of Clean Company sales transactions are cash-based. Around what? And each of the company sales staff prepares a cash sales report on a monthly basis. So in this case, we have talked about a cash intensive business. Do you remember? As the indication of money laundering. We discuss about I've given an example of soccer-based shops, lot of shops. Do you remember? These are good examples of cash intensive business. Do you remember, guys? Let us contribute, or you're forgetting. You're not reading, isn't it?
Remember.
So you remember. So you have to write that one. And again, as you can see, Mr. Blake has lead the way with this scheme in recently sold clean product with a value of 30,000 to a business to his. Turn this one, this one, fine. Oh, let us put a necessary heading because we're going to assess or to judge. So you may write cash intensive business. Cash intensive business. Did you write that? Nice heading, cash intensive business. Because we're going to discuss, we're going to assess, we're going to judge. So the first thing you have to identify from the scenario, isn't it? First, you have to, your heading and what you're going to identify and your judgment should be in sync. Should be what? In sync. Moving in same direction. We don't want to see whereby the heading and what you are telling us totally different. All together, Yvonne and others, guys. Hello? Spand.
Yes,
Grace.
yes, I'm following.
So you write cash intensive business heading. The first thing, identify from the scenario why you are saying it's a cash intensive business. Let us identify. Then say skip a line after put a heading cash intensive business, then skip a line. Then first you have to identify here where it is written around 7% of clean commerce sales transactions are cash based. Are what? Identifying to emphasize my point. Hello, guys. Am I clear? Loud and clear? Hello?
Yes, we are
Yes.
following.
Yes, I'm identifying around 7% of clean commerce sales transactions are cash-based. And Mr. Blakers recently sold cleaning products with a value of 33,000 to a business associate of his. Full stop. That's good identification. The next thing I have to now to assess these are no points. So then say this is an example of placement. This is an example of what? Placement. You see, I'm followed by mentioning the stage of money laundering. This is an example of placement. Are you following, guys, on what the way I'm expressing, the way I'm flowing my point? This is an example of placement. Placement, which means the first stage of money laundering. So I'm saying this is say continue full stop, then continue after you have identified you identify these 2 points, then full stop continuation. This is an example of placement. Placement of what? Of illegal funds. This is an example of placement of illegal funds into the financial system in order to legitimize them as genuine sales. In order to legitimize them as genuine sales. Full stop, continuation. We are discussing, isn't it? We are assessing. Look now, this business is a clean company. Look on the size of the transactions. You're using common sense. I keep on saying, reminding you guys, common sense is very important when you're entering at this level at ACCA. Common sense. This company is a clean company. Look on the volume of transactions. Just imagine. They say, first of all, this is further evidence by the size of transactions. This is further evidence by the size of transactions. This further evidence by what? By the size of transactions. Considering that this is a business of selling cleaning products. Full stop. We are done. So, guys, I want to ask you a question. Is there any logical flow of idea? If you trace very careful from the beginning of this paragraph until the end, I notice the way I'm expressing it, there's a logical flow of idea. I'm flowing. My idea is flowing. Hello?
Yes, we are following.
Okay. So you may read what you have written. As you read, pay attention. Okay, someone read. Want to proceed? Want to go to the next point? Probably we're given 2 marks for that. That point only, given 2 marks. I've judged and make a assessment, make my assessment, and then I've judged. Oh, can someone read what you've read? On placement,
Are we reading?
in terms of business.
Are we reading what you just narrated?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll read. It says around 75% of in company sales transactions are cash based, and Mr. Blacker's cleaning and Mr. Blacker's recently sold cleaning products worth 33,000 to his business associate. This is an example of placement of possible illegal funds into the financial system in order to legitimize them as genuine sales. This is further evidenced by the size of the transactions, considering that this is a business of selling cleaning products.
You see how the way I'm flowing my idea, guys. I'm sure that we are together. Then the other thing, another point, last but not least, another point, you may skip a line. Then, please, after you identify, you have to insert a nice heading. You have to choose what? A nice heading. So how best, what is the, what could be the heading or best heading that I can put here? That's good. So let him skip all these things. Let him go with his review of audit working papers. They've said Mr. Blakens are going to indicate it. Yes, I'm sure that you are seeing. I've indicated where I've indicated. I'm going to read. I'll start probably where it is written. Mr. Blakens personal tax return. Are you seeing where I'm reading? Mr. Blakens personal tax return includes a significant number of transactions involving the purchase and the sale of property in various international locations. The taxation working papers include a detailed review of a number of offshore bank accounts in Mr. Blakers' name, which identify the proper transactions. That's good. This one is a good example of what it does identify. So, so a good heading is that a nice heading: international transactions. International transactions. Read that one. International transactions. International transactions. Then you underline. Then if the first thing, identify. The first thing you have to identify. Then say, Mr. Blakers' personal tax return includes a significant number of transactions. That one is a straightforward statement. The way to identify, which means you just select from the scenario, using the words in the scenario. So Mr. Blakers' personal tax returns include a significant number of transactions involving the purchase and the sale of properties in various international locations. And again, the review, and again they include a detailed review. Yes, and again they include a detailed review. And again they include a detailed review of a number of offshore bank accounts in his band, which identify the proper transactions. And again they include a detailed review of a number of offshore bank accounts in his name, which identify the proper transactions. Yes, full stop. That's good identification. So you see now buying and selling, sale of properties in this one. So they say this is an example of layering. This is what? This is an example. First of confusion. This is an example of layering, which is the second stage. Don't forget, layering is the second stage in money laundering. So this is an example of layering. Layering. Are you writing?
Yes, we are.
And integration. This is an example of what? There's a layering and integration. Layering, why I'm saying layering? Example, review of a number of offshore bank accounts, isn't it? This one example of layering. If a number of offshore bank accounts is an example of layering. And integration, where I'm saying integration, buying and selling is an example of integration. Selling of properties is an example of what? Integration. So I'm trying to assess, to judge, to make judgment. To look now, having numerous bank accounts, offshore bank accounts, is an example of layering. They're trying to make no transaction difficult to trace them to their original source, isn't it? And again, those transactions involving patients in cell, which means an example of integration. They're trying to bring back those illicit money. They're trying to legitimize illicit money back into the financial system. And that's simple as that. You're charging, you're explaining, you make that clear. Why I've said layering because Mr. Blake have a number of offshore bank accounts, so that it will be difficult to trace these proper transactions to their original source, so that it could be in one same integration, so that patient sale of properties in international locations, they're trying to that's integration. When I say that's a good example of integration, which means they're trying to bring back that money, or now the money is legitimized, they're trying to bring it back into the financial system, since it's now being legitimized, since now it's now being clean. Simple as that. We are done. That's called evaluate, assess, judge. Ndiri kuapply zvandakadzidza, uri kuidentify according to the scenario. Mazvioneka about money laundering. Ipepa rakanyorwa muna December 2018 waona ukabuda muexam ichisei zvanga zvakaoma. That's good. Let us move on. On B, comment on the ethical and professional issues arising from your review of the audit working papers, and recommend any action which should now be taken by Thomas and Company. Fine. There are two questions. They say 50 marks. How many points that are going to write? Both on each point, you have to comment and recommend actions. Comment on the ethical and professional issues and recommend. See, then so that you may get 15 what? Marks. Are we together, guys? Hello? Hello?
You're following?
You're following, it's fine. I'm sure where ethical issues they start with regional review of audit working papers. Review of audit working papers. I'll just pick only two, then just to show you how to write them, isn't it? I remember we did Code of Ethics and Conduct. I'll just pick them randomly. If you go on to last year, I've highlighted, as a result of your audit review visit the client's premise, you have learned that the audit team was invited to, and subsequently attended the clean company's annual office party. The client provided each member of the audit team a free voucher worth $30, which could be redeemed at the venue during the party. The audit senior, Paula Metcalf, who has worked on the audit for the last 3 years, has informed you that the audit team has always been encouraged to attend the party in order to develop a good client relationship. So that one is a good example of what we need. A heading. We need what? So you may write gifts and hospitality. You may write what? Gifts and hospitality. Did you write that? Gifts and hospitality. Yes, I remember last time we discussed about gifts and hospitality. Do you remember? We've discussed, but those were notes. We're not answering the question. Now we are applying those notes. So you have to write gifts and hospitality. Gifts and hospitality. That's good. Then say. Then you have to identify. The first thing you have to identify. You have to say. The audit team was invited to attend the annual office party. Have you invited what? To attend the annual office party. And the client provided each member of the audit team with a free voucher worth $30. This is the very, very important point that you have to identify. The audit team was invited to attend the annual office party. So let me say to attend and invited to and subsequently to attend. Yes, let me use that word exactly as it is. The whole team was invited to and subsequently attend clean campus annual office party, and each member would be provided with a free voucher of $30. Full stop. It's enough. These are the two important points that you have to identify. Did you write that? Hello, guys.
Excuse me, sir. Are these 2 points? Are these 2 points falling under the subheading gifts and hospitality, or it's just 1 point?
Oh, it's yes. It's they falls under gifts and hospitality.
Okay, noted.
Gifts and hospitality. Yes. First thing you have to identify why you say gifts and hospitality. Where is it written? Identify from the scenario, then write them. The old team members are invited to and subsequently attend Clean Campus annual office party, and each member of the old team would be provided with a free voucher with $30. Full stop. You'll be awarded a mark on that. On that only. A half mark or a mark on that. Are you following on what I'm saying? Then now, full stop, continuation. Name the source of threat. The next thing, you have to name the source of threat. Which threat could be created in this case? A familiarity threat, isn't it? Or which threat is being represented by this scenario, by this identification? Which source of threat, which is being represented? familiarity threat, isn't it? Then full stop, then continue. A familiarity threat may arise full stop. Then make it clear why are you saying familiarity may arise, how your independence could be jeopardized, how you could be no less objective during the audit. Make it clear. Of course, you have told us that a familiarity could arise or could be created. In what sense? Then say full stop. Then say some relationships would develop. Some relationships would develop. Isn't it? Now I'm starting to expound my point. Some relationships would develop because of close relationships. Yes, just say some relationships could develop. Which could resound in the audit team, some relationships may develop or could develop, which may resound in the audit team becoming less objective during the audit, which may result in the audit team become less objective during the audit. And ended up inclined with the information being provided by the client employees, and inclined with the info being provided by the client's employees. Full stop. Please, all terminology is very important. You're done. Then you get your 2 or something marks on that point on its own, 2 or more marks. Any question on that? So please, when you are reading, there's some okay, they say okay, and recommend any action which should now be taken by Thomas and Company. Okay, you have to answer it. That's one we comment on the ethical and professional is now we have to recommend an action. You have to what? To comment on action, isn't it? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We are commenting now. We have to recommend any actions. So then say, first, then skip your line. Then say recommendation. You have to write recommendation. Please make sure that you have answered the whole question. And this is another part that's supposed to be answered. Recommendation. You are still on 1 point. Recommendation. Please don't confuse the examiner. Recommendation. Then say, consider the value of the voucher. Consider the value of the voucher, which is $30. It's trivial and inconsequential. Is it trivial and what? Isn't it? Is trivial and inconsequential. What does the word trivial mean and inconsequential? We've discussed about this last time. What does the word trivial and inconsequential mean? What does that word mean? Inconsequential. Come on, guys. Hello? What about trivial? If you say inconsequential, which means not important, it's not significant, isn't it? Altogether. Called trivial. Trivial means little. That's good. Little value. Importance. That's good. So in this, because when you're recommending, please, don't just comment, but make sure that your recommendation is in line with what is in this scenario. I know that you have read a lot of things from the textbook, but applying your application, is it in line with what you have given in the scenario? So in this case, whether the value is trivial and inconsequential, what's next? Because we are going to deal with what you're going to say. Someone say, no, this one, your recommendation they'll be different, but all of you guys are going to be awarded some marks. It depends on how you express your point. So I cannot say this is an obvious answer. No. We hear first from where you're coming from. So in this case, for me, I'm saying this value is inconsequential. It's inconsequential. The odd team may attend the annual office part. But if this continue to happen, we should considering to decline such gifts and services. We should consider what? Decline such gifts. Yes, currently we may attend, but in subsequent annual parties, we should both in the long run the value would be consequential. That's good practical. You need people who are practical. Yes, currently we may attend like the annual office party, but in subsequent annual parties, we should consider to decline such gifts and such goods and services to maintain our independence and to remain objective. Full stop. That's good recommendation. We are done with that one. Let us move on last on this one. Can someone pick? In this case, let us discuss about this one because I've sent this question in advance, I'm sure, last week. Can someone pick? Say, let us discuss about this one. Here's the page. That's the page. Can someone pick? You're lost anyway. Let me read where it is written here. During your initial meeting with Mr. Blakers, he informed you that Clean Company is planning to develop a new website in order to offer online sales to its customers. He has asked Thomas and Company to provide assistance with the design and implementation of the website and online sales system. The first thing is to think about the appropriate heading that you may insert. The appropriate heading. Okay, it's fine. Nyasha said website and online sales something. Is someone what could be the appropriate heading? So I'm going to say IT service, IT services, IT. Someone can say IT service. Someone can say non-audit work, whatever. But your heading should be something which is clear. Okay. Yes, non-audit services. That's good. Then after you put your heading, then you underline, then skip the line. The first thing you have to identify where it is written. Why you say non-audit or work of kind of coordination or non-assurance engagement? It's just one word. Then you have to say, there's no need for you to look. There's no need for you to copy the whole paragraph. No. Try when you identify. Try by me to summarize. I remember when you are doing O-level English, we have been taught how to summarize long sentences. So Mr. Blake has asked us to provide assistance with the design and implementation of the website and online sales system here. Starting from here. So make sure that you start your sentence, it must make sense. It must make sense. Mr. Blakers, he has asked us. Don't say Thomason as if you don't exclude yourself. Us, which means you are the one. We are also involved. You are the odd manager. You are also involved. That's what they say. You are the odd manager. So Mr. Blakers, he has asked us to provide assistance with the design and implementation of the website and online sales system. Full stop. That's good identification. Isn't it? Then full stop. Name the next thing. We have to name the source of threat. In this case, then say a self-revealed threat can be created. A self-revealed threat can be created. Or someone can say self-revealed threat may arise. Then make your point clear. In what way? Why you say it may arise? Or self-revealed threat can be created. In what sense? Because look, this system would be used to generate the figures that are going to be used in the preparation of financial statements. Yes, that's how you're supposed to express your point. Because the system would be used to generate the figures that are going to be used in the preparation of financial statements that we are going to audit. Remember, this one is an audit client for so many years. Guys, are you following on what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm saying because why I've said self-revealed threat may arise, because this system would be used. This system will generate figures that are going to be used, that are going to be included in the financial statement that we're going to audit. So during the audit, the audit team may fail to identify any shortcomings in their own work. So during the audit team may fail to identify any shortcomings in their own work. That's good. So now, first of all, we're done. Recommendation. Now then say recommendation. Since our client is not a public interest entity, look the way I'm starting my point. Since the client is not a public interest entity, we should use a separate engagement team or separate team. We should use what? A separate team, which means we should have two different teams. The team made up of non-audit work. Then the other team for auditing or for reviewing the system. So you must be clear on that. Two different teams, they must be engaged. Since it's not a public interest entity, so two teams should be engaged. One team to perform non-audit work, which means already I've explained about it, and then the other team for auditing. Same as that. Any question, guys, on that? Hello?
We are following.
Hello? Any question? Any question?
None from me.
Okay, it's fine. So I'm just teaching how
maybe
to explain. People, please,
a
guys.
Question, a question from the side. The question, the allocation of marks is 15 marks, and I'm trying to just find out how many points we are supposed to then identify, considering that the question to us has to comment on the ethical issues and make recommendations. So how many points are we supposed to identify?
At least 5 points. At least minimum 5. Yes, I just give you the minimum. It depends the way you're expressing your point. At least 5. There are so many ethical threats. They've talked about taxation. They've talked about what else? Yes, taxation. They talked about taxation for the Kanban and Mr. Blaker. These are two separate points. That's supposed to what? To mention. See, they've talked about they just mentioned about or decline of your firm for a number of years. It's another point, isn't it? So in other words, you have to identify all those threats that are there. You have to identify what? Threats that are there. And clearly explain them. Both from the end, they say he has been an odd client of your firm for a number of years. They didn't mention. So on that point on its own, there's a threat, long association with a client. Long what? Association of no with the client. It's fine. It's fine. Right, guys. Oh, let us move. Anyone with the, any question? Anyone with a question? Hello. Anyone with a question? Hello?
I don't have any further questions. I think we can proceed.
Okay, let us proceed. So this case, we're going to look just on two issues on this one, March, June 2019. We're going to look on what? Two issues. Are we together? On two issues. March, June 2019, question number 3. Question number 3. Again, it is 25 marks. Again, it is 25 marks. Guys, what we are doing, is it helpful? What we have knows is another story. The main is about application. No one can able to read what is written. No one can able to pronounce not the words that are in the statement or that are in the paragraph. But are you able to apply application? That's where the problem is. The other thing, guys, I'm sure I've got a problem with people say I'm reading alone. I'm reading alone. What you see from those answers, we call them suggested solutions that are meant for examiners. Are you listening to what I'm saying? We call them what? Suggested solutions that are meant for examiners. Or they're trying to guide the examiners. Because when I'm marking, I'm not supposed to strain myself. I need a guide. But almost to say, someone who touched these things, they support to be awarded at least minimum these marks. Credit marks they are awarded for the student that is written about this. It's a matter of, so there's no supposed to write for 4 marks, 2 pages. Are you creating? Are you creating a marking scheme for examiners that's going to be used by examiner? Please be very careful on that. We call those suggestion solution. I don't know in answer whereby people say, oh, do not create a marking scheme. Go straight to the point. Are you following on what I'm saying?
Yes, we are.
Are we? Yes. You are not examiner. You're not creating the answer for examiners. Go straight to the point. You see people write, what are you saying? You're not sure on what you're writing. No, I don't want to use your answer for marking. No, I want to mark what you've written. Not to suggest solution. So just ask yourself, am I answering the question or I'm suggesting the solutions? You need people who answer the question, not to suggest solutions. Nothing wrong to read those marking schemes or suggest solutions, but be careful. But be what? Very, very careful. So can we proceed? So let us go on this one, my June 2019. So required part. Whenever you see where it is written, where there's this lot stories, go where it is written required, so that you may understand what this story, what is it all about? This story, what is it all about? This scenario, what is it all about? Rather than start to ask yourself, what is it all about? What is it all? Go straight to the what? Are we together?
Yes.
That's good. If you're together, that's good. Right. They say required. Roman numeral 1. Evaluate the client's accounting treatments. So you don't know how. That's why I always keep him say you are the auditor, and don't forget that for you to say you are the auditor, you are also what in account, a professional accountant, is it? So how are you going to evaluate the accounting treatment if you're not a professional accountant? You must be also a professional accountant for you to able to evaluate the works or the work of a for you to be able to evaluate the work done by the client and the difficulties which you might encounter when auditing each of the accounting estimates described above. So there are two questions to Roman numeral 1 that's supposed to answer. The difficulties. First thing, you have to evaluate the accounting treatments. Then the other thing, you have to evaluate the difficulties which you might encounter when auditing. Roman numeral 2, design the audit procedures which should now be performed to gather sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. That's good. The split of the mark allocation against each of the issues above. So let us go. Say I've said that we're going to just pick two issues, starting with cash settled share-based payment scheme. Which accounting standard you know discuss or talking about cash settled share-based payment scheme? Which accounting standard?
Is it not IFRS 2?
If first, that's good. Share-based payments. So when you're reading this one, quickly think about it. Can someone tell me about the main provision of IFRS 2 share-based? Someone quickly tell just what anything that you know about IFRS 2. Well, you cannot be able to evaluate, you cannot be able to comment on the accounting treatment if you don't know the problem. How are you going to comment? What the client's management did, is it correct or not correct? If you don't know the provisions of IFRS 2, you see where the challenge is. That's where people they say accounting standard. No, you're not applying. You didn't mention about IFRS 2. If you ever see where it is written about IFRS 2, they just say cash settled share-based payment scheme. So B, let me start read from B. What is it, B? You are the audit manager. You are the manager responsible for the audit. They don't say you are the student. It's a daydream. Forget about that. You are the manager responsible for the audit of every company, a listed entity whose principal activity is the operation of a regional railway network. The audit for the year ended 28 February 20X9 is the first year your firm has audited every company. The draft financial statements recognize total assets of 58 million and profit before tax of 7.4 million. What are the purpose of these figures? What are the purpose of these figures? 58 million and total assets and profit before tax of 7.4 million. What are the purpose of these figures? Someone want to try? These figures are used to assess the materiality, to calculate the materiality, to consider the issue, is it material or immaterial to the financial statements altogether. These figures that you are given, wherever you're given the draft financial statement records total assets, profit before tax or profit after tax, you are going to use this figure to calculate or determine the materiality, to consider the matter, the financial, is it material or immaterial to the financial statement? That's the purpose of these figures. So the detailed audit field work has started, and the audit supervisor has brought the following matters to your attention in relation to the testing of key accounting estimates. Remaining one, cash settled share-based payment scheme. On 1 March 2008, the financial year end is year 20 February 20X9. Then they say, which means the year starts when on 1 March 20X8, isn't it? So please pay attention to the dates. If the financial year end is 28 February 20X9, which means it begins when on 1 March 20X8. Are we in agreement? Doesn't they say on 1 March exit. Audrey company granted 550,000 share appreciation rights to 55 executives and senior employees of the company, with each eligible member of staff receiving 10,000 of the rights. The fair value of the rights was estimated on 28 February 2009 by an external expert using an options pricing module at $4.50. Audrey company prides itself on good employee relations, and the senior management team has estimated that all 55 staff will qualify for the rights when they vest 3 years after the granting of the rights on 1 March 2028. The company has recognized straight line expense in this year's draft accounts of 825,000, 6 marks. So on these 6 marks, rule out which of these two things for you to answer 2 issues, Romanian 1, Romanian 2, for 6 months. Split those 6 months equally. 3 marks to evaluate the client's accounting treatment and difficulties that you may encounter using audit. Now, in the Romanian 2 audit procedures, you have to design the principal audit procedures, probably 3 only. But from the suggestion, there will be so many procedures. So we need audit procedure, design the audit procedure that are relevant to the scenario, that are more relevant to the scenario. We do have so many procedures, but we need those ones that are more relevant to this scenario. Are we together, guys?
Yes, we are.
That's good. That's good. So here is the technique when you answer the question. The first thing, you are given the expense that have been recognized, which is 825,000. So the first thing, tell us about this expense. Is it material or immaterial to financial? That's how you start your evaluation. Romanian 1. So you write cash settled share based payment, then say Romanian 1. Romanian what? 1. So let us consider this amount, this expense. They say first thing you have to discuss, you have to identify. They say the company is recognized a straight line expense. So the company is recognized is recognized in this year's draft accounts at the expense of 825,000. The company is recognized in this year's draft accounts the expense of $825,000. So this issue is impact both to the statement of profit and loss and the statement of financial policy. So you have to determine, is it material or immaterial both to the statement of profit and loss and to the statement of financial position? How do we calculate? So when you're answering this question, you don't want to see your calculation. We just need to see a percentage final result of your calculations. So 825,000, we say it divided by total assets you are given, profit before tax are given. So divided by 58 million in relation to total assets, in relation to financial statement of financial position, 850,000. So 825,000. Sorry. So these are in thousand, these are millions. So it simply says 0.825 divided by 58 times 100%. That's how you determine the materiality in relation to total assets. Are you calculating? What do you get? What do you get? Hello? Yes, I don't have a calculator just so 0.825 divided by 58 times 100%. You get what? 1.4 something, okay? 1.42%. That's good. Then calculate again in relation to statement of profit and loss. 0.825 divided by 7.4 times 100. What do you? I want to make a statement which is flowing. First thing, do your calculations. 0.825 divided by 7.4. What do you get? Okay, that's good. That's good. 11.15%. So listen. So I've said that's good. So let us continue with our statement. I said let me go. Yes, the comma is recognized. Probably I don't know the way I will change, but in expense of this one, this draft account of 825%, which is material, which represent 11 point what, I don't know, percent profit before tax, which is material as it represent, yes, which is material as it represent 11 point something percent of profit before tax. And 1.4 something percent, I remember 1.4 something percent of is it total assets? Yes, of total asset. That one, that's how you start your consider when you're given a figure. Don't ignore it. Tell us, is it material or immaterial? It's something which must be what you use an auditor. You have to consider it very carefully. Full stop. Continue now. So the way they're calculating this fair value, they say the fair value of the rights was estimated on 28 February 20x9 at the end of the year, isn't it? By an external expert using an options pricing model for that future. What are you saying? Is it correct according to IFRS 2, which at each financial year end, we should estimate the fair value? Is it in line? We have to comment. Is it? Then say, full stop continuation. You may write. So according, right, fine. Listen. Before you write anything, I want to be clear on that. You must bear this in mind that according to IFRS 2, according to IFRS 2, at each reporting date, we have to determine the fair value. The fair value of what? Of the liability, is it incurred? We should remeasure the fair value of the liability at each reporting day period. We should remeasure the fair value of the liability until it is settled. Are you following on what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because I want to make a meaningful paragraph. Yes, according to IFRS 2, not according to say, according to IFRS 2. Don't say we said, no. According to IFRS 2, I'm not the one who said that. We should remeasure the fair value of the liability at each reporting date. Bear that in mind. So, we are saying the expense, let's say full stop continuation, the expense of the liability, top corner, the expense of the liability. It has been calculated based on the fair value of the rights. It has been calculated based on the fair value of the rights. It has been calculated based on the fair value of the rights as it what? 20 February 20x9 in brackets over the reporting date. This one or comma the reporting date, whatever, put in brackets or comma the reporting date. Are you following on what I'm saying?
Yes.
So let us what are my calculations of around 825,000 yakarecognized iyo ndiyo amount. So you are to they're expecting 550,000 share operation they're going to vest, all those they're going to vest. Can you use your language? Can you to vest the word vest in what today? The word vest. What does that word mean? So you need to calculate the expense that's supposed to be recognized. The vesting period is what? 3 years. Am I correct? They vest 3 years after the granting of the rights on 1 March 20. You see, the vesting period is what? 3 years. Am I correct? I'm not guessing. It is clear written.
Yes, that's correct.
That's good. Which means we need an expense record that's supposed to be recognized in the first year. So that's supposed to be recognized in the first year. We simply, how do we calculate it? We simply say $4.50 times 550,000 share appreciation rights times 1/3, which means 1/3, which means 1 year over total number of vesting periods. What do you get? $4.50 times 550,000 times 1/3. What do you get? I'm sure that you are calculating. Yes, guys, let us just do we want to confirm that figure. They say evaluate. We want to confirm that figure, is it correct or not? 825,000. You have to make your own calculations, recalculate the accounting treatment. We want to check on the accounting treatment done by the client's management. Do we get the same figure, 825,000 or not? So $4.50 times 550,000 share appreciation rights times 1/3, 1 year over 3 years, which means 3 years is the vesting period. It is clearly written. What do you get? What do you get? Oh, we get the same figure. That's good. So we are in agreement with the client's management calculation, isn't it? So we say therefore the treatment the treatment is in line with IFRS. The treatment is in line with the provisions of IFRS 2. Then show us the calculations. $4.50 times that just put in bracket $4.50 times this one, or you simply give her the 125. $4.50 times 550,000 is 1 over 3 is equal to 25. Just confirm. So, which is in line with this one? We confirm. Now let us go on difficulties. We are still talking about, we are still under that question, difficulties. So don't forget, when you read VECA for about IFRS 2, what you did when you're doing SPR, especially FR, I'm sure there's not, that concept is not examined when you're doing FR, but when you're doing SPR is there. Oh, all those things that are based on estimates. You're going to estimate, that one estimate. Am I lying? So it's a challenge to you as an auditor. In this case, they're basing on their prides, themselves because of what they say, what they have said, that their pride itself on good employee retention. That's why they're expecting after 3 years, all those number of employees, 55 staff, they will be available. What do you think? What do you think? Practically, is it possible? What do you think about this assumption, about this estimation made by the class management? What do you think, using common sense?
Well, I think maybe based on their trend, it could be a sound estimate. However, it overlooks other eventualities like death, or the possibility that one or two might leave for maybe better offers, or that others may retire in the process.
Okay. So they're based on good staff, relationships, good management, isn't it? So what do you think? Which may be, don't say obvious, it's wrong. No, it's not wrong, but you're using common sense, which could be inaccurate. The way their assumption, the basis of their assumption that due to their good employee relations and stuff, they're expecting all those 55 staff to qualify for these runs and for 3 years and stuff. Of course, yes, it might be correct, but practically, it may be inaccurate. Practically, it may be inaccurate. Practically, it may be unrealistic. Which may represent a challenge to the process auditors, which may represent a challenge to us as an auditor to obtain sufficient reliable evidence, isn't it? I'm talking about the number. They're expecting all those people staff to vest, isn't it? To be available at the end of the vesting period, practically, which is an unrealistic, inaccurate. There are so many circumstances that may happen. They do not consider those. So, goes to the point, I'm under the other part, difficulties. So it will be difficult for us as an auditors to obtain sufficient reliable evidence. Usually that. And again, for the safety, that one they were using in options pricing mode. These are the probability mode that are used. If you did financial management very carefully, you notice that for those who are doing AFM, advanced financial management, these pricing models, these are probability models that are used to estimate the fair value of those shares. So another thing, these models, if you are doing AFM, you know that they're so difficult. People they say, so I don't know how I'm failing to get the answer, which means that complex. This model that complex to use. Again, it's a challenge to use an auditor. Then what? The complex what? To use. Which is a challenge to use an auditor to obtain sufficient reliable evidence. Simple as that. If you do that, you are done. Then now we go on to Roman numeral 2 procedures. Any question before we continue or we proceed to procedures? All the procedures. Any question before we continue to procedures? I'm only discussing on issue that are on relevant provisions of IFRS 2. I'm not discussing the whole accounting standard IFRS, no, but I'm relevant to certain provisions. That's how you apply. That's how you can apply the accounting standard or the international financial reporting standard to the scenario that you are given. The examiner is not asking you to discuss about IFRS 2, no. Certain provisions of the accounting standard. What do you say? What's your comment? What's your judgment? That's why I've sent this paper in advance, so that you may say, okay, settle so that you may read about IFRS 2. After the whole thing that I've given you, that I've asked you to read, then specifically you have to go on IFRS 2. Read it thoroughly. Bear in mind that when we meet, we're going to discuss about it. How many of you guys did that? How many of you guys did that? How many of you guys did that? None. It's fine. So what they say, design all procedures. Let me go, which is written design all procedures. Design Roman numeral 2, then say design Roman numeral, you are required to design the audit procedures, which should now be performed to gather sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. How many audit procedures that you are going to design? How many? They say all total mark there are 6. How many procedures that you are going to design? How many? 10, 6, 15. Please, when I design the old process, make sure that they are relevant to this scenario. They are relevant. So you write Roman numeral 2, then say audit procedures. Audit procedures are written in point form. Audit procedures, they are written in point form. Use bullet points to write the audit procedures. Bullet point, like even in minus sign, you may use a black dot. That they are written, all the procedures are written in point form. They are written in point form. And for you I'm sure if you read very careful from my notes, I've demonstrated how to write some all procedures on each scenario. If it's 15 revenue for contracts with customers, we discuss about if it's 15, then here example of how you can gather sufficient appropriate audit evidence. If it's about the IS 20 government grants and assistance stuff, I will discuss it. Then a good example of audit procedure that you may perform using auditor is about IS 40 investment property. We discuss about investment property, then I'll just give you on audit procedure that you may design to gather sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Did you notice that? Hello? Are we still together, guys? Hello?
Yes, we are still together.
Or else you are not reading it. My notes, I have designed them in such a way that we mainly focus on application of the note. How best can we tackle the questions after we discuss this one? So, if I ask this one, how can you tackle? How best can you apply? How do you respond? That's good. So the procedures, the emanates from, do you know the provisions of the accounting standard that you are being asked to perform to design the old procedures? If you don't know, it will be difficult. You don't know where to start again. If we don't know how to be best you can design the old procedures, failure to understand the procedures, I mean the provisions of the accounting standards, it will be difficult for you to design the appropriate audit procedures. In short, I'm saying, nothing that you're going to design, nothing that you're going to design, nothing at all. So, just to give you a clue, your procedure is supposed to design, they're supposed to be relevant to confirm about the confirmation about the granted date and the vesting date, isn't it? Supposed to confirm about what? The granted date and the vesting date. These are not new words to you guys, and you did, and some of you are doing SBR, not FR. I know you are doing option, which means I'm expecting you to be doing SBR. Or you did SBR, the grant date and the vesting date. Your procedure, they should be designed to review the number of executives, specifically in this case, and the senior employees awarded share appreciation rights. Your audit procedures should be designed in order to verify the conditions attached to the share appreciation rights. Your audit procedure, they should be designed in such a way that you may have to review the expert's valuation, the reasonability of the assumptions used by the experts in order to determine the fair value of the share appreciation rights. Your procedure, they should be designed again to review the forecast staffing. They have said that all staff, they're expecting them to be available up to the end of the vesting period. You should design the audit procedure toward that. So your audit procedure is simple, that I'm saying they should be relevant to what you have given in the scenario. They do describe a lot of things. There should be three only points that is supposed to, on three issues that is supposed to design procedures, 3 or 4 that are relevant, procedures that are more relevant to the scenario. It's enough. That's good. Are we together? Then don't forget that all procedures are written in point form, using bullet points to number your work. Please do not claim you must know your stuff. Anything to say?
Is there a particular order? Is there a particular order that we should follow when we are highlighting these audit procedures out, or they can be highlighted random?
Yes, you must know. Yes, you must know where to start. If you want to know about someone, first you have to obtain identification particulars IDs, isn't it? You must know where to start. This should be logical. No, logic is very important. We do not proceed that are haphazard. We need where to start. You must know where to start. Where to what? Where to start. Usually you have to obtain a copy of the contract, isn't it? Contractual document and other supporting documents which confirm about the grant date, vesting date, like what I've mentioned, isn't it? That's the first procedure. You can't apply all the procedures for Norway. No. There are certain things that you have to obtain first, so that when making a verification, so that when you do your calculations, there are something that you hold, that you have. Are we together? So it's about application. Please go and again. Read those notes, read those notes again. So guys, I just want to pose a question. How many of you get that available on Sunday? Usually after around, let me say, around what? Probably 11 a.m. we're available. Or you're going to church. Want to cover something?
I'm available.
Okay, mechanism is available. So it's fine. If you're available, why I'm asking this question, I want to cover on something. Okay, that's good. So for those who are not available, simple is it's no problem. We simply record the lecture on behalf of others who are not available on Sunday. Yeah, I'm sure that we are in lockdown and the church are banned, but it doesn't mean that you have to ban also your studies, isn't it? We have to utilize for that time. I know there's some service that are online, but sometimes you have to utilize for that time, isn't it? I'm just giving this one lecture for free. 2 hours. I'll be looking on group audits. We're going to discuss about group audits on Sunday, 11 up to 1, discussing about group audits. We're going to prepare about group audits. So please remind me on Sunday. Was why I've said 11 was in the morning I'm going to do some other lectures on cost management. Then after I should have a break for 30 minutes. Then we continue with you guys. 11 up to 1. We're going to discover the group audits. So on group audits, we're going to apply again some of the accounting standards. A lot of things that we're going to apply when we are preparing to answer that question number 1, 50-mark question. So on Sunday, we're going to discuss about group auditing, principal auditor, and other use the work of experts, the difference between audit risk and business risk. What are the risks of midterm statement, between audit risk and risk of midterm statement? All those kind of stuff. All those kind of stuff. Communication skills, presentation. When I answered question number 1, that's what we're going to look on Sunday. Please, guys, remind me on Sunday. Are we together? I'm sure today we discussed a lot of things. For those who are those who have joined us today, please go back and read about ethics. Go and read about money laundering, so that we may cope up with others. This month we should have to cover everything. So if you finish on that one on Sunday, the next Friday when we meet, we're going to discuss on question number 1. We'll be discussing question of send the question paper in advance. We're going to do it together. I'm sure that question paper we're going to do it twice. Friday and again on the weekend to complete total question number 1 thoroughly. So I'm going to choose a question with the odd risk and the business risk together so that you may get the sense. How do you answer those questions? Question number 1, from communication, presentation, logical flow of idea, up to conclusion. I want last month toward the exam total for revision, assignment and revision, reading or notes, applying and revisions only. That's all. But so far we revise as we go, giving you, guiding you, and how when you are given this scenario, the approach, where to start, how do you present your answer and stuff, like what we are doing, like what we were doing today. And question that, guys, Sunday I'm available and I'm happy. Your response is overwhelming. There's almost 3 people that are available. Yes, it's good. You may record lecture on behalf of others so that others they may play those video on their spare time. Any question, guys, before we say good night? Grace, Yvonne, Tafara, and Viola.
No
Don't panic.
questions from me.
No.
Yes.
Just follow what I'm telling you. Just read my notes. My notes, they good exam technique. Sometimes there's a way I have written with a ballpoint, like I was reading a ballpoint. Try to make your life easier. There's no need for you to load you with the notes. No. You must know how to apply the notes. Please. Application. Just to unlock you guys. So on Sunday we're going to start to discuss about the group audits. Group what? Audits. So you may write on Sunday we're going to look at discuss. If there's no any disturbance about the network and stuff, electricity, we're going to look on that. Group audits thoroughly, then we finish on that. So that when we meet next Friday, we're going to discuss about the question number 1. I will send it in time. Read it thoroughly. I'm going to guide you on areas. Continue reading about those account standard. If it's 15, if it's 5, it's 10, if it's 10, if it's 3 business combinations, biological assets, IS 41, whatever. Continue to read about those. Corporate governance that we did. Preparing to answer now question number 1 together. Okay, guys. Cheers. I may say good night, guys. See you on Sunday. Remind me, please don't forget to remind on Saturday evening. For those who said they will be available. Viola, I will together. Tafara, you've volunteered in the grace. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't forget to remind me, please.
Okay.
Yes, don't forget. Yes, this month is about to finish everything and together did some revisions. Cheers, good night.
Thank you. Good night.